everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video we are continuing our birthday card series. This month is all about birthdays. So I am making the birthday card for my son. He'll be turning 2 this year and I am trying to get ahead of the game. So I went to my Cricut and I had it cut out a number 2 for me, and I had it cut it out about 4 times. I don't have a number die that is quite this large, and I wanted it to be a pretty large, and this is going to be like the swinging element on our card, so, or the interactive element. I went to my stash and I found this layering stencil set, and I have a little mark for myself in the top right corner that lets me know that that is where I need to kind of line things up in order for them to layer together correctly. I have some Distress Oxide inks today. I'm using my pigment inks just because I'm working on colored cardstock. And I'm going to do some very simple ink blending and a very simple like lean into mixed media. So we're doing a few different things for me on today's card. So because we are starting with a colored cardstock, you want to make sure that you are using a pigment ink of some variety. You can use your dye inks, but they aren't going to show up quite as well on a colored cardstock, although it is possible, especially if you used a lighter color cardstock. But this color is pretty intense. This is Sirio Color from, it's called Iris. So it's a more intense blue, bluish purple. And so I wanted to use my oxides on it today. I am just ink blending in these corners just for lining up purposes, just because I don't have like my card on there, my cardstock on there straight. I don't have the stencil on there straight. So I'm just using that little ink blending in the corners there so that when I go to line this up again, it's a little bit easier for me. One of the things that I will say is that my ink pads were really juicy, and that actually worked out fairly well for this particular card and application today. Although I did have a little bit of ink kind of seep under in one star in one spot, but it was not the end of the world. So the Distress Oxide colors I'm using today are Peacock Feathers, Chip Sapphire, and Blueprint Sketch. Now, the Blueprint Sketch is going to be part of kind of the mixed media portion of this. So the first color I did was the Peacock Feathers. This color is the Chip Sapphire. And then, like I said, we're going to do kind of our mixed media with the Blueprint Sketch. I did no fancy ink blending there. What I have here, and this is our nod to the mixed media world. This is about as mixed media as I get. I'm not very well versed in that kind of media format, but I have some Ranger. This is their texture paste in a transparent matte, and I just smushed some of the Blueprint Sketch onto my glass mat here and mixed in way more than I needed of that texture paste, and just used a palette knife to kind of mix that around. And now I've applied the third and final stencil. It doesn't matter what order you do this particular stencil set in. And I apologize, I don't know what stencil set this is. But any one you have will work. It doesn't even have to be a layering one. So I'm just applying a very thin layer of this. And then I realized I had tons of this paste left over, and I can't put it back in the jar because it's obviously tinted. So it's tinted this blue color. So I do just kind of apply a thicker layer of that, and I'm just trying to make sure that maybe it has a little more interest and it's not quite so smooth all the way around, just to give it a little more interest. Like I said, this is for my son. He'll be turning 2, and so, more tactile feel, the better, I guess. Once I am happy with how much I have on there, I'm going to clean my desk, the stencil, and my palette knife off. In the sink. You don't want this stuff to sit and set. It will wreck your stencils and whatever else you are putting it on. I then went through and paper pounced. You could ink blend or cut from colored cardstock 3 of those same colors. So, and then I left one white. Like I said, I cut this out 4 times, and I was thinking I was just going to kind of stack them right on top of one another, but I wasn't sure which color I wanted to have on the top. So I paper pounced all 3 of those colors, the Chip Sapphire, Blueprint Sketch, and the Peacock Feathers, onto one of those number 2s. And then I'm going to end up actually offsetting them. Like I said, I was originally going to stack them all together, but I kind of liked the offset look better. And I just do that by applying just a little bit of glue and then offsetting everything to the right. So you will be able to see all 4, technically, if you include the white, which I put at the bottom, all 4 of these colors off to the right. I hope that makes sense. It's more clear when you actually look at it. I want this to be a somewhat very, very easy interactive element, and I don't want it to be something that my son can rip off of the card, but I want it to be something that he can, play with a little bit. So I'm going to take my, I think this is my hole punch from We Are Memory Keepers. So it can go through all 4 of these layers of cardstock, and this is just HAMMERMILL cardstock. It can go through all 4 of these layers super easy. I'm using the smaller of the holes. I think that's an 1/8 inch. And I'm just going to kind of layer this. Right now, that stenciled panel is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, but I'm going to trim it down to 4 by 5 1/4. Then I'm going to lay this 2 on there where I think I want it to go, and I'm just going to use a pencil to kind of mark inside that hole. Then I'm going to take that same hole punch and punch a hole through this little panel here. Then I'm going to flip that panel over and apply foam tape everywhere except for immediately around that hole there. Then I'm going to take off the backers and apply some liquid glue. But first we need to go ahead and attach our number. So I'm just going to take some Paper Studio blue and white twine, since that's kind of the theme of his card here is shades of blue. And you see me trying to loop it through. Don't do that. I end up taking one of those loops out, and we're just going to end up tying it to the top of the card. So as you can see, I just have both of those looped through to the back of the card, or back of that stencil panel, and then we're just going to tie a knot at the top of it. So I get my loop tied to the very top of that panel, and now it swings around. It does catch a little bit on some of that texture paste, but it's not enough that I'm going to fret about it. And then I snip off my excess, and then I'm going to flip that over, take off the backers, and apply some liquid adhesive. That helps me kind of line things up with just a little bit of wiggle room before that foam tape sets in. That is foam tape from Amazon. I have been purchasing this for a while now, and I really like it. It's very inexpensive. It has a decent loft to it. The backer is easy to remove, but it sticks very, very well. So I've been very pleased with that overall. Went ahead and attached that to the card, and then I'm going to take Peacock Feathers, and this is a sentiment from the BERGENIA Builder stamp set from Altenew, and I took the Happy Birthday from there, and I'm going to stamp that a couple of times in that Peacock Feathers, and then I'm going to take that to my brother Scan and Cut and have it cut it out for me. I do take a pencil and outline it, but I'm going to have my brother Scan and cut that out for me. I just take a pencil and go around it. That gives the Brother Scan and Cut a border to follow. I did flip that over and apply more of that Amazon foam tape to the back of that, and we are going to pop that up toward the bottom of the card. I'm trying to make sure that that doesn't interfere too much with our little swinging element there, so I do try to put that down low enough. I have a number here, but you could use a letter, you could use a critter or whatever as your element. So I appreciate you spending time with me. Hope you felt inspired. We'll see you next time.